You ever have like the trick or treating the house that gave away like the little box of Sun-Maid raisins? You're like, fuck you so much. You should have just turned your lights off and not given us anything.
One year in my peak trolling days of like being in my early 20s, like I gave canned vegetables away. I was like, here's a can of corn.
Thank you.
A lot of the kids looked at me so
Thank
crazy.
you.
I had so much fun. So the kids got beans. Some got canned tomatoes, like canned peaches.
Oh man, those canned peaches kid made out. Canned peaches are great. Is that like the
I would never do that now. I would never do that now. That was my peak South Park humor.
That's a transition thing. You've transitioned now. You've got more love for the world around you.
It's beyond transitioning. Like I wouldn't have done that like in the last 10 years. Like okay. It's like I
It is pure edgelord. That's pure edgelord.
Yeah, it was edgelordy. It was it was naughty's edgelordy. In the time of Rick and Morty was an edgelord.
Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary, welcome to Girldick with Ted Cruz, starring Lilith Electra Zarling, Amanda Bonanza, and esteemed Republican senator from the great state of Texas, your host, Ted Theodore Cruz.
That's like that Dole. They have the mixed fruit can in like heavy syrup, and there's always like one half a cherry in the whole can. It's like they got it running through the thing at the end. There's just a guy right before they seal them up who's just like, boonk,
yeah,
boonk. One cherry for each can.
I canned fruit. Canned pineapple I can kind of get behind.
Yeah.
But I mean, even canned pineapple, it's like, because you can't always get fresh pineapple.
Yeah.
But like something like canned pears or canned peaches, it's like you can just go 2 aisles over and get peaches and pears.
No,
like,
you can't get peaches this time of year.
They're all over the place here.
Well, not all of us are living in Olympia, are we?
You live in Virginia. You're way closer to peaches. I bet you have peaches in your neighborhood. Like growing, maybe not right now, but like I bet you there's peach trees in your neighborhood.
Yeah, I got 2 peaches in my neighborhood.
Got a couple cantaloupes. You know what I'm saying?
Stole them right out of the melon store. I would say, you know what? I would say, like, I always judge by the farmer's market. The farmer's market has peaches that peak summer.
Okay, that's fair. Like, it's like, okay, so you're talking about like, but like we don't live in a world like where
we don't live in a world where canned fruit needs to be a thing at all anymore.
Well, I mean, we will soon, but like right this second, maybe a year or two. We're currently canning like motherfuckers. Like, I'll tell you that.
Gonna start having to crack into the bunker food.
No, just getting it ready. Like, yeah. You know, it's like, and it's not me that's doing it. It's one of my roommates that's lived that life, that lives that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, I don't understand it.
I mean, I want to learn how to do it.
Because I wish I could. I don't have it in me. Like, it's just not in my DNA.
when we get to Vermont, it'll be part of what we do.
When I escape capitalism, but like that's not something I can incorporate into my life when I only have 2 hours a day to do anything at all. It's like fair. It's like that's not gonna happen.
Fair.
Yeah.
Welcome to the end of the world with Girldick with Ted Cruz. Such a joyous way. Such a joyous way.
The way things are going, kind of like the way that the end of the way we've been doing things for most of our lives. Like we'll see what's coming around the corner, but it ain't gonna be this.
Well, I'm Lilith Zarling living in reality. That's Amanda Bonanza living in denial. Welcome to the Girldick with Ted Cruz.
Living in my fucking apocalyptic fantasy. I tell you this, I played enough video games to know that, like, when that apocalypse fucking does come, the best way to take out a robot's with a grenade.
Yeah. Saving up your Nuka-Cola
Or try
caps.
shooting bullets at a fucking robot. That's what grenades are for. You need explosives.
Oh, that's like people collecting bullets.
Bounce right off.
They're collecting gold too. It's like your gold, when there's nothing, the gold doesn't matter.
Oh, that's not true. Gold's always going to be valuable.
No, for what? If I'm living
because
like
it's the most malleable metal there
I'm
is.
living
It
from
conducts
hunt to
electricity
hunt.
better than anything else. It doesn't lose any of its properties when you melt it down and reform it. There's a reason gold is gold. Like, it's not because it's pretty and shiny, which is also part of the reason, but which is also why it'll always be valuable, because it's also very pretty and shiny. But like, it happens to be maybe one of, like, gold and copper are the most useful metals there are. Like, it's like
wherever. If I'm hunting deer at the end of the universe, some guy wants me
denying
gold.
This?
What am I gonna do with gold? It's like I'm living hunt to hunt. Who cares?
Well, someone in your tribe can use the gold to, like, make semiconductors, and you can have fucking electricity. That's what. Like
We're gonna make some semiconductors.
We're not gonna not have electricity. Like, you understand how this shit's
if you say
work,
so.
Right? It's like, we're not gonna revert to caveman times. It's like we're gonna have residual things from this society that are like, the internet's still gonna be there. Like that's gonna be around. Like, it's not gonna be the same way, but you're still gonna be able to tap into a network.
Well, okay.
Like, it's like computers are still gonna be there.
So
like,
then here's the question. If the internet still exists and I'm still making mad money on my OnlyFans, how are people sending me gold monthly for my pictures?
No.
And videos. I have everything.
They're sending you virtual gold that you can use in the virtual world.
Dogecoin.
When you're going to the MetaVerse. The MetaVerse will still be there with all of its 64 users.
Breaking news, the MetaVerse has survived. If you want to sit in a big open foyer and talk to 64 other people, you can do that.
Remember Second Life? It's like that.
Without the simulated sex stuff, I bet.
Doesn't quite look as good, but like,
doesn't look as good as this thing from the 90s, but
it doesn't look quite as good as Second Life, but like, it's pretty much Second Life. It got pretty close. You can do your taxes in the MetaVerse. You're
going to have to do your taxes in the MetaVerse.
You're going to have to do your tax. You have no choice to do your taxes in the MetaVerse.
It's its own country. It's its own country now, with its own meta military.
I had to take a class, like a training class for, like, my work. And it was on note taking, and it was a useful class, but the guy that was teaching it was this insufferable windbag, and like, which was ironic for a class on how to shorten, like,
right,
how to like be more efficient with your words and your time. And like, this guy just kept going on, and I really didn't like him very much. He wasn't like a bad guy, but like, he was the type of guy, like, he just had all the right. He just ticked enough of the boxes that are unsavory that, like, if I met this dude in real life, I wouldn't want anything to do with him. I'd just be like, you just
go away.
Yeah, you just go over there, Mr. Peabody. Like, and his name was Peabody.
Weird.
And anyway, put him on blast. He's on blast.
Got to edit that out now. We got to get sued by Mr. Peabody.
His first name, Mr. Peabody's doing fine.
Mr. Peabody was also a cartoon dog who went on adventures with Sherman because they had a time.
Sherman, Mr. Peabody. Yeah. But
now I'm going to picture Mr. Peabody teaching this class.
This guy was not as cool as that cartoon dog. Let me tell you that, because like.
Okay, Amanda.
No, but my point of it is like he did at one point like refer to metadata, but he called it metadata.
Metadata.
Like, he had, like, with a straight face, like, that's how he thought it was pronounced. Like, and yeah, this guy was such an insufferable, just like.
True fact, my grandmother's name was Maida.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like there's a whole verse for me.
The MetaVerse.
The MetaVerse. You got a question?
I do have questions. I have 2 questions. Here's the first one. This is kind of like a kind of a fun one. What part of transitioning were you looking forward to the most? And, and this person just says, "Hey, it's difficult to enjoy and look at the good sides of transitioning. It can be a struggle and stuff. And let's just look at, before you transition, what were you looking forward to? Kind of recapture that joy." And this is a great question. I'm so happy that this person posted this, and I saw it.
That question again.
What part of transitioning were you looking forward to most?
There wasn't more to it than that. There was
then what they said, they said it can be difficult to enjoy and look at the good sides to transitioning, as it can be so difficult. I hope this post brings back the enjoyment and happiness to transitioning.
Because that's the part that I heard that I took pause with.
Yeah.
But now that you
I'm sorry, I was a mess there.
No. It's just like I just wanted to be clear because it's like yes, first of all, yes, it is very difficult to transition. It is maybe the hardest thing one can do. It's no shortage of challenges, no shortage of work, no shortage of hardship. But seeing positive aspects of it is not difficult.
Yeah. But before you started, what were you looking forward to?
Well, I mean, before I started, I go with the obvious, just having boobs. Like, that's just what I wanted, really. I just wanted boobs so bad. It's a kind of a generic all blanket thing. Like, it was nothing specific. I just so wanted to be a girl so bad.
Yeah.
But like, just all of it. Like, there was just like being a girl, like the idea of like not having to be a boy anymore. It was just like I was so ready for it. I was so forward to it.
Yeah.
And so all of it, like the whole package, the thing, it's funny because it's like we've talked about it before about like how like it's arguable whether you actually get to a point where like you're fully transition or whatever that means.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a part of me that's kind of like there already. Like that's like that I kind of did make it. And I'm kind of in this zone where it's like, I mean, obviously there's going to be new stuff because I do get sideswiped with stuff. Like even to this day, it's less and less.
Yeah.
But every now and then something catches me off guard. It's like, oh, that's new. Oh, I didn't expect that,
Yeah.
And, but that's less and less. But I'm also like so used to it that like, because it's been so long, like it's been like I'm coming up on 4 years, and that's a high school education. That's about as long as puberty takes. It's about it, and like I kind of do feel like I've at least made it past the hard parts. Like there's still it's all just like, and like I've been doing it and living in that zone for so long, and also like I live in a place where like I'm not constantly reminded that I'm trans by the general public. Like it's like I'm just kind of I'm accepted in women's spaces, and it's expected for me to be there, and so I don't have to worry about that whole element of things. It's like I don't think, I mean, I can't really tell you, I don't really have the perspective, but I don't feel like I'm visibly trans. Like I can walk around and navigate the world and no one's like, who's that trans girl over there? It's just like I'm just any other middle-aged woman.
Who's
it's like
that trans girl over there?
Girl? Who's that trans girl?
I feel like for me it was like, I think, and I didn't find this out until after I transitioned, but like every trans girl at least had that thing where you would like fall asleep as a kid and be crying because you wanted to wake up, as you just wanted to wake up and have everything be right. And just like it was just like that. I just wanted to like look forward to like everything feeling like right. And honestly, I had no idea how good that would feel.
No,
like literally I just started operating on a better level, and it's just like all these
right away too. Like that's the first thing that happens. Like that, the first thing, because like the whole thing is just mind blowing and magical. And it's really hard to like parse because it's so overwhelming and so like just awesome.
You have all these things you've been living with, all these filters, and unconsciously how you're existing in the space, and all these things you think about yourself, and you start taking the hormones, and you start releasing those things. And I look back and just realize like all these behaviors I had, all these ways that I acted, the ways I used to be different were because I was trying to be something that I was not. And it is amazing to look back and see just like personality wise how I communicate, how I exist in the world is completely different because one, I'm 100% confident in who I am and what I'm doing, and I've lost all these filters that where I'm afraid of how people are judging me. And it's like,
the defense mechanisms,
like all those things,
and just the energy that goes into keeping up the charade.
So good.
Like and it's just like keeping that secret takes up a large chunk of bandwidth that when that's freed up, you just start operating on this more efficient level. You just have more to work with, like mental and emotional capacity. But like that's only half of it, because the other half is the actual chemical differences. Because that's the other thing is and we might have touched on this before, but it doesn't matter because it was a while since we have. So but the other thing is it's when you start HRT and you nothing about it's fast. Like you said, when you took your first pill on stage and you made a joke about I don't feel anything.
I don't feel anything.
Because it's because you don't because that's not how it works. But it's this gradual thing. But the physical manifestations and changes that they take longer because it's your physical body and your cells have to reform and regrow and reshape, and that's fucking wild. But on top of that, what happens faster is about and I can't speak to everyone, but for me it was about 3 weeks after right in there, between 2 and 4 weeks, where I had started HRT and was taking it every day, and where I started noticing my brain's was making different neural connections, and shit was changing around inside my brain, and I was thinking differently. And I remember catching myself doing things. And so I was one of the first things.
Yeah.
Did I tell the donut story? Have I told the donut story?
Tell me the donut story.
Okay, so I was a school bus driver, and this is early on in my transition, and I drove a school bus, and when you drive a school bus, you work the morning shift where you pick the kids up and drop them off at school, and then there's a 4 or 5 hour thing in the middle where it's union, so if you've been in there a while, you can go on field trips and make money that way, or you just kind of have a break and you come back and you do the afternoon where you pick the kids up from school and drop them off at home. But there's this big break in the middle, and so I at the time there was just this space where we all hung out at the depot. And there was this lady, her name was Queenie, and she was just the sweetest lady, and she was always she was the den mother, and she was she's hey sweetheart, let me give you here I got you this, here have a donut. And it was a little Debbie donut, wrapped in individually wrapped plastic, an old fashioned, and it was just this gross thing that I was never gonna eat, but it was Queenie, and she gave it to me. I was oh, thanks Queenie, I'll save this for later, if I'm hungry, and I'm not, probably will be. And she's yeah, just throw it in your backpack, it'll be fine. Okay, fine. And so I did, and I forgot about it, and I went about my day, and I went and did my afternoon route, and I came back and I did that, and it was time to go home, and I'm walking home, and I am feeling a little peckish, and I'm oh, I've got that donut that Queenie gave me, and it's in my backpack. It's been sitting in my backpack on a school bus, it's not doing great. I'm like, I was like, well, I'll take a look at it. And I opened up my backpack, take a look at this donut. And it was just like, it was kind of crushed and squished. And like the plastic was like, had the glaze was stuck to the plastic.
Sure.
And it was not looking very good. And normally, right up until that point for my whole life, my first instinct at gazing upon that donut would have been, this looks gross, I'm not going to eat this.
Yeah.
But that is not the thought that I had. The first thought that came into my mind when I looked at that busted ass, nasty ass, Little Debbie crushed ass donut sitting in a school box, is I looked at it and I was like, if I eat that, that's going to go right to my thighs. And I caught myself thinking it. And I was like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, because it was like, I was barely I was not remotely passable. Like, it was just like, and it was just out of fucking nowhere. It was an instinctual reflex thought that just came. And like, I was stopped dead in my tracks. And anyone that saw me, I was walking across a parking lot, like in utter shock and disbelief at what I had just thought, holding my backpack in one hand and staring at this donut with my mouth open and a look of utter surprise and shock on my face. And like, just like, and just standing there for like a minute, because I was like, I didn't understand like where that came from. But like that was the first one that I remember. And then there was other stuff, and then that stuff started slowly creeping in, where it was like reflexive thoughts. And like, and it started like happening more and more and more and more, to the point where like that's literally what my personality is now, is all those thoughts. Is like, it's like, now that's just who I am. But like, it didn't used to be like that. And like, and it wasn't because, and that wasn't because like I freed my mind, or I let go of the baggage. That was the fucking hormones. That was that was the estrogen that was like literally reshaping my brain. And like, and to experience that is a wild
that is
of a trip.
It is. I think it's weird getting used to like emotions being more intense. And like, I remember, I would say like those first 2 months after I started hormones, I cried more in those first 2 months than I had the like 35 years before then. And but also found that I really enjoyed it. Like, it's really great to allow yourself to do that and to feel that. It's amazing. And then I would say, I think that first thing everyone says, like boobs or whatever physical changes you're looking for, but really like, if you haven't started yet, it's like, just be prepared to like mentally unchain yourself from all these things that are holding you back. Really open up to these new experiences coming your way. And I find, like, for me, it's still continuing. It's less about the hormones, but it's like, I'm still learning things about myself now that aren't hormone related, but ways that I allowed myself to be treated, or ways that I was just because that was my life experience. And I mean, full disclosure, I still struggle with people being nice to me, or like doing things for me. Like in my previous relationship, it was very abusive, and it's just like, I have to get to the, like, if let's say I'm having an encounter with someone, and they're doing things for me, like, I literally have to just like take a deep breath and be like, it's okay. Let this person do nice things for you, and let them be concerned about who you are and what you want out of this encounter you're having. And so those thoughts are still intrusive, and it's still a work in progress. And I'd say like, be open though to those. Like, I think, like I said, I think a lot of the focus is on the mental part, and that's great. And like, oh my God, the first time you realize how different you smell. I knew that would get you. I can't believe you didn't say that. That's usually like your favorite thing.
Well, because that wasn't like what I was I was expecting.
Right,
that wasn't
right. You weren't
the thing I was
expecting
like
that.
looking forward to. That was a thing that like I just did. I knew it was a thing,
Yeah.
but like I wasn't
You're like,
thinking about it. Like that was one of the
what?
things that caught me off guard. Was
Right.
like
Oh my God.
holy shit, I smell good.
Oh
I
my
actually
God.
just smell good. Like it's just like that's incredible.
I think part of this now is I also want to use this as a jumping off point for people who are listening to be like overload them with things to like look forward to. They're like, I was just looking forward to the boobs, but now my junk is gonna smell like pussy, and you're like, yeah.
That's oh my God, and that no one tells you. We're telling
No
you.
one.
That's not. Yeah, that's a thing that happens.
Oh my
Hormones.
God.
It's about 6 months.
Yeah.
It was about 6 months for you.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's about
the
the
best.
6 month marks, and it's like, well,
What?
does that mean?
Hello.
Yeah, and like, yeah, and it's like, holy shit, I was not in any way prepared for that.
Yeah.
And like, and like, I wasn't unhappy about it, but it was just like, I was just like, I mean, there's just so much of it because like that whole first year, especially that first 6 months,
Yeah.
is just such a wild ride because like it's like no one's psyche is prepared to handle
Yeah.
the amount of new information, like both sensory and like because it's so much more than the physicality of it, which is in and of itself is overwhelming.
Yeah.
But like it's so much more than that because it's attitude and it's I mean, like just the way I talk. Like if you heard my voice like before like I had transitioned, you wouldn't even recognize
No,
it.
I've had people I hate my voice. And but
Everyone
I've had
hates their voice. I hate my voice. Like
but I find like people have told me it's changed, and
oh, it
I-
definitely
I don't
has.
listen to my voice enough to judge that, but that's great. But I think one thing that's funny about it is after I started my transition, I started going to like I went to support groups for like 2 months. Like it wasn't really a thing for me. But what I found is just like I'd be in these support groups and it would come to me and I'd be like, you know what? I started hormones and is like my life is like even we talk about how difficult it is, like my life has never been better. This is the most amazing thing I've ever done, and I literally have nothing. I have nothing to talk like. There's nothing negative going on in my life. Like I don't know if it was just like where I was in my life, like I was ready to make this big leap, and then it all coincided with me taking hormones. But it literally like is the best thing I ever did in my life, and I'm just like,
there's no question. It was
mind
far
blowing.
the best decision I ever made, and like I mean, we've talked about that too, about like the success rate or the regret rate for like
Right, it's higher than heart. It's higher than having heart surgery.
Life-saving heart surgery,
which means people have had heart surgery and lived and been like, I wish they would have just let me die.
Yeah, and it's like, but like it's by far the best thing, and but like that first 6 months is just like so the idea of like because part of what makes it wild too is like nothing happens at once, like nothing happens like in real time, like
right.
it's such a gradual process, but that's the thing is it's gradual and it's rapid at the same time because it's relentless. And so it's like it's very gradual where you don't notice anything. Like you wake up and you look in the mirror and you look and feel the same way that you did yesterday when you got up and looked in the mirror.
Yeah.
But you do not look or feel the same way that you did when you looked in the mirror 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's noticeably different than it was 2 weeks ago, but you can't necessarily put your finger on what's different. You just know that it is. You're like, and you're looking. And
you also go through this thing where it's like, it's been 2 days. Like my face has changed, right? Like I'm pretty sure this is different. And it's like,
yeah. And you're just like, and then I was just like this, like the furrowed brow, just like trying to like pinpoint what it was exactly.
I think my smile is different. I think my smile is different.
My eyes got bigger somehow. I don't know how that works. But like that might also be just like being happy.
Yeah.
Like, and that's a huge part of it too, because like I didn't understand like how miserable I was. Like I knew I wasn't happy, but I didn't think I was in as bad shape as I was.
But
Like and it wasn't until I started feeling better that like I started to realize the depths of how low I was just living,
yeah,
just like my whole life, and like and how physically uncomfortable I was all the time too.
yeah.
Because please.
I was gonna say, I think one thing that changed for me, and this was partially for my transition, then partially as I learned, more about myself and started doing more stuff like that, is that I was living my life, and I think a lot of people do this, trans or not, that happy is something that you experience when something happens to you.
Yeah.
And happy is really who you are. And things can happen to me that are bad, but I'm still a happy person. And my happiness and the joy I put out in the world isn't predicated and isn't depending on something good happening for me or something that makes me happy. Things do make me happy, but
right.
Happy, I think if you change your definition to happy as a state of being and what you are, and keeping that in mind, it surely helps with being stressed, because if my being happy isn't predicated on something good happening to me, then me not being happy isn't predicated on something bad happening to me.
Right.
And it's about how to manage that and realizing that, like, I am, I still do comedy. I was an improviser before this, and people would say, you seem like a happy person or that, but like at my core, now I am a happy person at my core.
And so I am much happier too.
Yeah. But like when I was performing, it was obviously I'm funny on stage, but it was like, I didn't consider myself a happy person. I was always struggling to find out, how to make my life, or how to be happy, or I'd be depressed because something wasn't happening that I wanted to happen. Not clinical, I don't have clinical depression, but I'd be, like that would drag me down. And now things that don't go my way don't drag me down, because at my core, I'm happy and hopeful. And obviously HRT is part of that. So, man, we're like really over promising now. People are gonna be listening to this and be like, I can start today. It's not
over promising. It's like, this is really what happens.
I don't think every trans person is happy at their core.
Okay, maybe not, but like what I'm saying is like I guarantee you every trans person that is transitioning is happier than before they
happier than before. Truth.
Like absolutely. Yeah. And noticeably and considerably, like, and possibly exponentially, like, but what you were saying is, like, I wanted to just reiterate that I had a friend, still do, he's a friend of mine, he's a musician friend, that said something similar to me years ago, which was like, yeah, happiness isn't something you get to be, it's something you decide to be. Yeah. It's like, it's not a place you get to, it's a place you decide to live.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's also weird, like, after you transition, people are just like, you just look so happy. I was like, what did I look like before?
Well, and I look at old pictures of myself, and you see this in all trans pictures, especially they call them glow ups, I think, still.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still call them.
The kids call them glow ups. Yeah, that's what the kids are saying. Yeah, the kids are still calling them glow ups.
Before and after pics, like, and like
Transition Tuesday.
Transition Tuesday. You see them, and almost universally, like the before and after pics, like, even if it doesn't matter what people look like, what you see is like the before pics, like the eyes are just lifeless and dark.
Yeah.
And afterwards they're bright, and you see happiness in them. And it's in the eyes, and you see it in all of them. And I look at old pictures of me, and I see it. It's like, it's just like, it's like I'm a doll. It's like I'm a mannequin. It's like you look at it and you see it, and there's just nothing there. And it's just like Jesus. And it's like I look at it now, and I'm just like, oh God, like it's kind of painful.
No, it is. Like, and then that also comes to the thing. It's like, I always tell people, because you look at those pictures and it's easy to get pulled back and regret and all that, and just like, you were the person you were to get yourself to where you are now, and it sucks. And I, like, the person I used to be, like, I'm just thankful that they made it to got our life to a point where I could exist as I am now. So
yeah.
All right, so let's do this. Let's do this. So we got what part are you looking forward to now that we've had this conversation? Let's have The top 6 things people should look forward to, and we'll go 6 to 1, and we'll alternate doing them. So number 6, top things to look forward to.
Oh, I'm number 6.
Yeah.
Physically feeling better all the time, constantly, always, 100%, all the time, feeling physically better.
Yeah. Number 5, being confident in who you are. And that might not come immediately, but you're going to be living your truest self, and that's beautiful.
Number 4.
Yeah.
Being able to move in and be welcomed in the spaces where you feel most comfortable. Being treated like the gender that you are by both your brethren, your sisters, but also by the opposite sexes is incredible.
Yeah. Number 3, I think, is that first time you feel super sad and you have an amazing cry for the first time, and you realize how great it is just to let your emotions out and exist in them and then move forward. It's amazing. And I feel like even people who do that now, like, they don't realize how cathartic and amazing it can be, and just like releasing all of that is amazing.
Number 2, watching your face slowly change into the thing that you've always hoped for and wanted, but never imagined what it could be.
Yes.
Like, it's incredible. I still cry sometimes looking in the mirror, just like, fuck.
Oh, that's
like
beautiful.
4 years I've been doing this, and like I still every now and then, like, I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Like, it's just wild.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, and number 1, forever and always, boobs. Boobs gotta be number 1. It's always boobs.
They're so good. They feel so fucking great, and they feel so right.
Yeah.
I obviously, I don't know, that probably doesn't work as well for trans men, but like,
sorry, trans dudes. I'm sorry, trans dudes.
You get other things, I'm sure. But for trans women, oh my God.
How about this? If you're a trans dude who's listening to this podcast, let us know. Give us girldickwithted@gmail.com. Email us in, and if we might read it on the air in the future if we got some good ones.
That would be good.
Here's one things I do notice with T that's funny is, like, you know how like dudes are like, you're never cold. Like, trans dudes, like, they would show up. Like, I did a support group that was focused with middle-aged and high school students. The trans dudes would show up in December, snow out, in shorts and a t-shirt. And it's just like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. No, you started the tea.
Oh,
yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. No, I'm here. I bought flannel pajamas. I bought flannel pajamas for the first time in my life.
Okay. And here's another thing, number 7. We're going backwards now. But this is a difference. Okay, so this isn't like a thing necessarily to look forward to, but like for trans women, it's a thing to look forward to. For trans men, it's like a thing that's shitty. Which is that when you get sick, for trans women, the higher pain threshold, like, is a real thing. It's like you can take a lot more. Like, it's like I and when you get sick, like, as a woman, like, it's not so bad. Like, having a cold, like, it's just like it's an inconvenience. It's not fun, and you can get a really bad cold, but most times it's just like, you can still go about most of your day and do your stuff. When you've got the tea flowing, like, you're laid out bare, and you turn into a fucking sniveling baby, and it wrecks your body. And like, that's one of the things that I do not miss, is like getting nasty sick.
I always had like a super high pain threshold, so I feel like I'm kind of indestructible now. Like,
oh wow,
yeah, I cannot be stopped.
You're just like a fucking golem.
Yeah. That was like the least complimentary thing you could have said. You could have said, like, you're a goddess or something.
Yeah,
like,
you're fucking Wonder Woman. Yeah.
No. I'm a hunk of clay that's been life breathed into it. Thanks.
God.
Thanks.
I'm sorry.
I have to change my thing to she, her, Gollum on my.
I didn't mean it like that. I definitely didn't mean it like the fucking Lord of the Rings thing. Oh God. Oh shit.
Oh my God. There it is. Here's the thing.
I'm kind of like drained from that one. It was such a good question.
That was a great question. And I would say if you haven't started your transition, just like be open to the adventure in front of you. Like it's going to be a wild ride.
And
it's going to be
nothing you can do to prepare for it. I was so well researched, and I knew that I didn't know everything, but I felt like going into it, I was as ready for it as anyone could possibly be. And I got, it was like getting T-boned by a semi-truck.
And I was the exact opposite. One day I was just like, it's time. And I had the informed consent call with Planned Parenthood, and I got it, and I'm just, you know me, I just do what I want when I want it, and I was just like,
yeah,
all the conversations I think we talked about this before, like my therapist, and then the informed consent, and then the doctor the day I got my pills was like, this is what you expect from boob size, which is why boobs are always number one, because we're all looking forward to that. No one mentioned the emotional stuff, and I was like, "Oh man, you guys really could have given me a heads up on that."
Well, they call it mood swings.
Yeah,
that's what they say. There's you may experience mood swings in the first.
But here's the thing: I feel like now that I'm aware of it,
those were.
No, they weren't mood swings. I feel like if you let people be aware of it, like the first couple times it happened,
consciousness being rearranged.
The first couple times it happened, like I totally freaked out. I'm like, what's going on? It's like if they just said, I'm like, oh, I have awareness of this is happening, so I can be like, oh, you know what? This is the medicine. I can just cry quietly in my room without thinking that the world is ending.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's so much good things. But there's nothing we can tell you that can prepare you for what
just be ready for it.
It's its own thing, and I have taken a lot of drugs, and this is the wildest drug I have ever been on. Is estrogen.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, everything else I've taken is just kind of like it peaked at a couple hours and then it was done. It's like, oh, this just keeps going.
It's just like, ooh, and it just gets
But also mushrooms are pretty cool.
Yeah, mushrooms are cool. I like acid a lot. I ate a lot of acid. Yeah.
Oh. I got another question for y'all. Yeah. This one's I don't know. I think how do you all, meaning us, how do you all make IRL? I believe that's in real life.
I think so.
Yeah. How do you make in real life friends?
It's either that or it's a web address.
No, it's a URL. How do you make URL friends? It's like, well, you just go to GoDaddy.com and you buy one.
Go to the MetaVerse.
So I can see my grandma. How do you make
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. My grandma's in the MetaVerse. How do you make
trapped in there like let me out. This is terrible.
My grandma does not talk like that.
She does in the MetaVerse.
How do you all make in real life friends? As an adult, I find it very hard to make friends. I'm still in the closet-ish and don't have any friends I can meet up in person, so I was wondering, how do you make friends? Well, how do we make friends? I just stalked you online and sent you a friend request. I didn't stalk. We were in the support group together, and we were both from Milwaukee, and I'm like, that's good enough for me to be friends. I make friends like a little kid. I'm just like, wait.
That's how I do it, too.
You like blue? I like blue. We should be friends.
Yeah, I like you. Can we be friends? Let's be friends. That's how I do it now. Like, and it's like, but here's the thing, though. I want to reel that back a little bit, because it is actually can be really tough.
I know it can be. I'm being partially facetious.
What I'm saying is kind of one of the things, because quite frankly, I don't have a lot of friends right now, because it's not because I don't want to. It's just because the world is the way it is. And right now
It is a
it's
tough
like
time to be making
everything,
friends.
yeah, it's very tough because they're like coming out of COVID, and like it's like the world changed and people changed and people got really fucking agoraphobic.
Yeah.
Like and including me. And so it is a little more challenging right now, but like it is one of those things like where it's like you kind of got to be receptive to it. And that for people that are introverted or shy or have social anxiety, it can be really hard. It's really challenging because you kind of got to you have to face that fear, and you have to climb that initial hurdle of talking to people.
Yeah.
Because that is what it takes. You have to talk to people, and like it's hard to do that, especially if you're not confident, if you're not self-confident, or if like you're socially awkward, or it's just like you don't know what to say, and you feel like you come across sounding like a weirdo. Like and it's like I understand all that. Like it's like, and it is hard. And especially if like you're in the closet but you know it and you're like not really coming out. But I'd say for that specific scenario, what I would suggest starting is online, is like forums and stuff, and getting into like if you're in the closet, you can be out online. It's safer.
Yeah.
And then you can go into the forums for being, the trans forums. And what I will say is like there's a lot of things that are difficult about being trans, but one of the good things about it in this modern era is that the forums are very welcoming. Like there's some harsh ones. I've seen some really gross ones.
There's some, and there's gatekeep. There's always some gatekeep who pops up and is like, if you're
good
not on
judgment
hormones, you're not
yeah.
trans. It's like, fuck you.
Stay away from those. Like, but the vast majority of the forums are very open and very welcoming and very, very, very tight knit. And it's global, but they like go into the forums and be like, hey, I live here and this is me and this is what I do. And is anyone around? And like, and start meeting people that way. And not only will like you probably meet somebody in your area, like, but you also will probably that'll help you, edge out and come out a little more, and probably move that along a little bit, and because it really does help a lot to like to be with other people that are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Doing it by yourself is next to impossible.
I mean,
you need other people for this.
I did 2 months of support groups.
Yeah. I still go to support groups.
Here's a question. This is just like a technical question, and that, I mean, everyone has their own needs and stuff, but do you and I count as friends IRL?
I mean, I would imagine so, but I mean, I guess it depends
on what you mean by IRL. I mean, I consider you're one of my best friends. If someone tried to do something to you, I would come to your aid and I would murder them.
I could, well, I mean, yeah. Like, it's actually, but like, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, I consider you a very good friend, but like,
oh my God, yeah.
For those that don't know, Lilith and I have never met in person. No. Like, we've never been in the same physical space before.
I've never been in a physical space. I'm always outside.
But no, I mean, like, we've only interacted over the internet and the phone. Like, we've never actually been touched each other or seen each other in real life.
Not yet.
Not through the lens of a camera. Like, and so, but
so I would say with that in mind, realize that what's in real life, like if you're on Discord now, I would also say use the things that are comforting you. Like, I was on Discord for a while and I had no idea what was going on. And I feel like I walked into a conversation that's going on for like 30 years and I was just like, whatever, isn't for me. I would also say, if you're not out and you're still in the closet-ish, find places where you can be your most authentic self, because that's going to make it easier for you to connect with people, because you're a place where you can be authentic. You can not have your guard up, not worry about being, judged all the time. Whether that's a support group or, I always say, like,
support groups are
great, but also like hobby things. Like, if you're into something, like, find groups that do that kind of work. I would also say, like, most of my stuff is like Facebook groups for trans people. Again, I don't participate much. I just kind of like like seeing what the kids are talking
Yeah,
about
I kind of
meme-wise?
glance in.
And yeah.
I don't spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
I do once in a while here and there, but like
Yeah.
I'm mostly an absentee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we should probably put it, once we get our website up, we should probably have a forum on it.
Yeah, that's
And
a
just
great
like,
idea. Let's do that.
let's,
Yeah,
let's
okay, I'll
be,
think about that. Yeah.
let's do IRL. But yeah, I would say this, it's hard to make friends, like you said, as an adult, because when I was a kid, I'd be like, hey, you're wearing blue. I have a blue shirt. We're friends. Or like Amanda, I just happened to see in a group, someone asked, where's everyone originally from? And she was like, Milwaukee. And I was like, I'm also from Milwaukee. I'm going to friend request her. And, I don't know if that's the best thing to do. Like, I felt very.
It was fine.
It did work out fine, but I also felt, well, I knew you're from Milwaukee, so you have that Midwestern friendliness. But like just randomly sending a friend request or a compliment, to someone, that's up to you how you want to do that. But I would say, support groups, and we had support groups. I was part of one where there was someone who wasn't out, and they would come and they would go to the restroom and they'd change and they came right from work and they'd put on their wig and they'd be themselves and and then before they left, they would go to the restroom and change back out and go back, in their, how they were living their day-to-day life, because it was just a time for them to be who they were and explore that. And I would say, like, for trans people, like, that is a great place if you have trouble meeting people, and you're worried about, you're on a journey and worrying about losing friends who aren't going to accept you or whatever you're concerned about. Like, finding people that will help you be your most authentic self is very important.
It's true. And that it sounds like that's like, we're making it sound easier than it is. And it is one of those things that, like, the prerequisite for all of these things is a combination of like courage and self-confidence. And that if you don't really have an abundance of those things, that can be an especially daunting first step. And go on.
I do have something. This reminds me I was thinking about this morning. If you run a support group, right? Or if you're a part of a support group, let people show up with like, they don't have to be a part of the agenda. You don't have to put pressure on them. I was at one support group, and I think this was the last time I went. A mom showed up with their child who was just starting their trans journey, was not even presenting as female yet. And they just put, like, the person running the group was just like, well, tell us about you. Like, you should be smiling. You're like on this journey and your mom's here for you. It's like,
that's a terrible.
This 13-year-old is in a group with like 30 trans women who are all out to various degrees. Everyone's presenting as female. There were 2 trans men, but also a lot of the people in this group were like
older.
They were older than me. Like, this was just like a lot of 50, 60-year-old people in this group. And I was just like, I'm sitting right next to this person, and I'm just like, you're fine. You don't have to say anything. But it's just like,
that you don't
realize that everyone is in a different place. And if you want to talk to someone,
do that.
And if they're new and they don't want to talk,
people
after the support group, just introduce yourself. I would say that if you're part of a support group, introduce yourself one-on-one to all the new people and just be like, hey,
I think kind of being in a support group, you got to introduce yourself to the group usually as a part. But
like not like in the circle. I'm saying make sure you find that new person afterwards and be like, hey, welcome.
That like
if you need us, we can help you.
A little special connection to, or someone that maybe they mentioned something that they're into that you're into.
Yeah.
It's like, and support groups are really great for that sort of thing, but they're also really good for just like saving your life. Really, honestly, that early stage of just not being out yet and not knowing things and not like, talk about having low confidence. That was probably the lowest point that I've ever been, was like right when I just came out and before I started HRT, or right when I first started. It was just like, I'm a confident person and I'm extroverted and like I don't have social anxiety, and even for me that was really hard. Like, and so like that, so I can only imagine how hard that is for someone that already doesn't have those characteristics that I, was lucky enough to have. Like, and so like, but that's why support groups, that's one of the reasons why support groups are great, because like you're in a safe place, first of all. Like no one's gonna judge you there, like, because everyone knows what you're going through. But like you're also gonna meet people that like they're gonna tell you things, and they're gonna give you the experience, the wisdom of their experience, which is something that even if you don't know you need it, you very much do.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get help, you're gonna learn things that you're gonna learn etiquette, you're gonna learn like language, like you're gonna learn courtesy, you're gonna learn like just the right things to say and do in the community, and things about yourself that you didn't know, and you're gonna learn how to set clearer boundaries, and you're gonna learn how to like navigate it, and what's okay and what's not okay, and like you're gonna learn a lot more about yourself, and it's gonna really help a lot. It's invaluable. And so really honestly, that's a great place to start.
I think there's another thing to discuss here, and that's, we talk about like making friends as an adult is different than making friends as a kid, but being friends as an adult is much different than being friends as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I'm not a person who doesn't have a lot of friends. I probably have a lot of people who would call me their friend, but also like my best friends live in Milwaukee and in Washington. And then I live half an hour, 40 minutes south of where most of my like people I've met recently live. We stay in touch once in a while, but I can't remember the last time, I went out with someone who was a friend and like had dinner.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's completely
friends that I never see.
I do a comedy festival every year in Florida. I have like 500 friends in Florida. I see them once a year, and sometimes it's more like, do you not have friends? Like every time I feel like that, I'll reach out to people. Mm-hmm. And just be like, hey, I was just thinking about you, wondering how things are going. But it is very different because you don't have recess. If you're work friends, you don't get a half hour lunch to go outside and play kickball or anything. If you, like I said, people move, and so your friends are far away. What people, even like different adults, like what can you do together? Once you become an adult, it becomes kind of expensive to do shit together too. So, because I would say
those are trappings. There's ways around that.
But but just realize that like if you have a lot of friends and you don't see them all the time, that's just the way. That's just normal part of thing. Yeah.
And it's a sad part of aging. I don't like it very much. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, that's why we started a podcast. Like, how could two friends who live probably almost couldn't live further apart in this country make sure that we stay in touch? We're like, let's just do this podcast.
That's the other way to make friends. Start a podcast.
Start a podcast.
Start your own show.
Come email us girldickwithted@gmail.com and let us know where you are, and we'll give you a shout out. But I would say support groups, if you're looking for, you're in the closet and you want a place where you can be a little more like you, but also if you have a hobby or something, like you might not be able to be your trans self, but if you're in the closet, you still might be able to find that authentic stuff working on something you love with other people. So follow up on things like that. My whole background was improv. So for the longest time, my friends were all people that I did improvisation with. But I realized, like, I left a lot of those people behind too. Like, what we always say is that, like, as you're living your most authentic self, you're going to find people who are going to accept you and love you and want you to be your best self. And those people are out there. And
you're going to shed a few that won't.
Oh, shed so many. It's going to feel so good.
It does actually feel good. It hurts. It hurts when it happens, but like you get over that pretty quick, and then it's like, oh god.
Then you get a cool friend who's just like, oh my god, you're amazing. I want to help you be amazing. You're like, oh, okay. My last friends, believe it or not, didn't want me to be amazing.
Right.
They wanted me to be shitty. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing about like a support group that's handy is like if you are like in the closet, like you can kind of come out while not coming out.
Yeah.
Like, and that's a place where you can do that. You can experiment. That's a place where you can like try on pronouns, try on new names, like all the stuff that like comes with being trans and not really feeling comfortable and feeling awkward. Like, it's like that. It's a place free of judgment. And that's like so important.
And you can have conversations about things that you think you're the only one going through, and then realizing you're in a room full of people who've all gone through the same thing, and you won't feel as alone. And, you realize you're not the only one who ever cried yourself to sleep and wish they woke up as someone else.
Confidence.
Yeah,
and
so much confidence.
And then it'll help you. Like, it'll help you be more confident moving around, and that transfers out to outside of the group eventually. And I mean, that's how you do it.
Yeah. Or sign up for an improv 101 class that's mostly friendless nerds, and you'll have a couple of friends immediately.
Definitely. Join a woodworking group. On a shelf.
I built a spice rack. Yeah. Friends. I mean, I think if friends are weird, and plus, like we said earlier, it's even weirder now. It's like I don't even go out anymore.
I'm trying to find errand friends. Like, that's what I want, because I don't want to necessarily
I want to do that too.
Go out and I don't want to go out and go to a bar. I definitely don't want to go to a bar anymore, and I definitely don't want to necessarily go to a fancy dinner or a lunch or whatever and drop $70 on anything.
No, we're gonna go thrift shopping and then go hang out at the river.
I have to pick up groceries, and I have to go to Lowe's to get a toilet brush. Will you come with me, and we can ride in the car and talk about stuff and be in the store together and make jokes and laugh at capitalism.
Yes.
It's that's what I want. I'm trying to get more people to do that.
That's going to be an episode. Hard. You're gonna come visit, and we're just gonna iPhone record us in a grocery store for 15, 20 minutes.
It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild. Yeah, we'll have to get. Well, we're gonna have to hire someone to film us, because I can't be doing this the whole time.
We have to get a film crew. Out there.
But it's this one. but
or just get an extender, so it's 6 feet in front of me, so I'm hitting people.
That's just out there, and that's just or I was thinking some sort of shoulder mount apparatus that just so it's a hands-free gear. So we kind of look like mechs.
Or just have a helmet with one that's looking down at us, so we have this weird perspective on our faces. See, you can find friends even not IRL, and then you become friends IRL.
Yeah. IMO, that's what you should do. TBH.
IMHO, you should do this.
What's IMHO? I don't know that one.
In my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Oh. I think that's what it means.
That sounds right.
Yeah. But you're going to find friends and find places you can be you. Find places where you can explore who you are. But of course, in this I'm gonna pull in Amanda here and be but of course that depends on where you live. If you live in a rural South Carolina, probably not many in person.
They exist. Trans people are everywhere. That's the thing. It's you are not alone.
It's a secret.
You are not alone, even if it feels like you are.
Yeah.
There's just the other people that are there that are like you are just also alone and afraid.
And you have
They're there everywhere. There's trans. We're not. Trans people are not there's no particular geographical location that makes you trans.
Right. And you have friends. You have friends.
Everywhere.
You have friends here. All the Girldicks.
Yeah.
All the Girldicks are your friend.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what our fans are, the Girldicks?
No, they're not. In fact, I hated that.
The cruisers?
The cruisers!
Somehow even grosser than calling them the Girldicks.
It's somehow grosser, but also way cooler, because I feel like being called a cruiser, also it feels like you get a free windbreaker.
Oh my God. First of all, we love you. We love all of you. We hope you all make friends IRL. And we'd love to hear from you. If you have any tips that we didn't think about, girldickwithted@gmail.com. Drop us a line. But you all are beautiful and loved. I've been Lilith Arling. That's been Amanda Bonanza. Ted Cruz is, if you haven't picked up yet, not really a part of this podcast. And I know
it breaks my heart every time you say
I know. It'd be
it's
so
like
nice.
it's like a little. It's like that Janis Joplin song. You're just breaking off another little piece of my heart. Because every time it's like, don't tell me Ted Cruz ain't gonna come. I want to hear it. And it'll take away Santa Claus from me. He's gonna be here like the Great Pumpkin. I just have to be patient.
Anyway, little adorable babies, thank you for listening to the podcast. You all are amazing and loved, and I want you all to know that. And we love you, and thank you for listening to this little podcast. Bye.